Oh, friends. Oh, friends. Today, I wanted to connect a British scientist who has said some sexist, naughty things to my work experience all those years ago at Starbucks. Before I get into the topic at hand, I want to remind you guys I'm going on this tour beginning this coming weekend, and you regular viewers, know the new setup at my channel. So most of the video coming out of that tour will be behind the Patreon wall. So if you are willing to hop onto Patreon, give $1 a month, $2 a month, $50 a month to be my patron. You'll have access to that, a bunch of other stuff. So consider that. I'm really looking forward to this tour. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the link below. I'll be traveling around the country, maybe be in a town near you. So, topic du jour. Tim Hunt, this British scientist, said something that is being universally pretty much agreed upon was sexist. And I want to talk about the response to what he said. Is my beard crooked? Yeah, my beard's crooked. All right, so Tim Hunt, some renowned scientist, won the Nobel Prize. I'd never heard of him, but hey, I'm a poet. So, he is at a science conference in Korea. He's giving some talk in which I guess is relevant. By the way, before I really dive into this, you should know that a politician who was there thanked the female scientists for making the sandwiches, making the lunch. So, I'm very willing to believe that sexism is rampant in the scientific community, which is an overwhelmingly male field. So, Tim Hunt is talking about women in science, and he says, "Let me tell you about my trouble with girls." Okay. Now, that part is sexist. Okay. I hate when people do that. However, that is a normal way of speaking. And full-grown women refer to themselves as girls. That's a habit that just needs to stop. It's stupid. Girls are immature women. But I think we can put that to the side. You know what? It might indicate a little mindset, but we'll just put it to the side because that's not the part people are freaking out about. This is the part people are freaking out about. Let me tell you about my trouble with girls. 3 things happen when you get females in the lab. Okay? These 3 things, according to Tim Hunt. You fall in love with them. They fall in love with you. They cry when you criticize them. Okay. Before we get to the response, let me tell you about my experience at a whole other level of society. 10 years ago, I was a store manager for Starbucks. Let me tell you what happens when you get women in a Starbucks. And I don't know what the percentages are, but they might be majority. They fall in love with you, you fall in love with them, and they cry when you criticize them. Do you know what happens in a lot of workplaces, especially high-pressure workplaces? Men fall in love with women, women fall in love with men, and women cry when you criticize them. That's kind of a thing. I'm sorry. Women cry at work. Now, some jobs are structured in such a way that ladies can take a time out to go to the bathroom and have their cry. It actually, on a superficial level at least, doesn't bother me if you're going to cry at work. If you have to cry, have a cry. Fine. There are some deeper things we could get into which I'm going to avoid, but wherever people work, men will fall in love with women, women will fall in love with men, and women are going to cry. Not all women, but it happens. Women cry a lot more than men, and they often cry as a response to pressure. And please hear me, they're not breaking under pressure when they cry, but females respond to pressure by crying a lot more than men. And I've made a lot of women cry and just waited. Right? That's just how it is. It's what you do. A place like Starbucks is very intimate. It's very tight. There's no escaping. And half the time when women cry at Starbucks, it's because of some jerk out in the lobby who tried to make her cry, right? A customer. But when there's conflict in the workplace, all that tight space, work net needs to get done. There are time pressures and customers to deal with. A few tears might be shed. Whatever. So, you could debate, I think, whether Tim Hunt's arguments were sexist. I think that his opening, talking about girls, reveals a little something. If I had to guess just from these comments, I happen to know a little bit more about the subject, not much, but just from the words, if I had to guess, is the scientific community a difficult place for women to work? And is it a bit of a boys' club? Is it sexist? Using feminist definitions, I would say yes. It probably is, because Tim Hunt feels comfortable calling women with doctorates girls. But the rest of it, for goodness sake, that's just an observation of human nature. Women cry, women marry men, men marry women. Okay. Here is the sexist response. As an example, a group called, a campaign has been launched. A social media campaign has been launched. They put this great video out there, all these dancing girl scientists in their lab coats and their hazard materials suits, etc. The social media campaign is #distractingly sexy. Here is the true sexism in this whole story. It's coming from these feminists, not just women, but men in the scientific community who, although there was nothing in what he said that would lead you to this, are acting as if Tim Hunt said, when women are in the lab, I want to have sex with them. When women are in the lab, men want to have sex with them and they become distracted. Okay? He actually was quite a sweet romantic about it, wasn't he? Men fall in love with women and women fall in love with men. Oh, isn't that sweet? Of course that's what happens. Men and women are around each other. They establish civil unions for the begetting of progeny. But no, the feminist reaction is all about sex. Makes the assumption that as a male, that's what he's talking about. And they are sexist in turn. Drop the mic. Drop the coffee mug. I just think I might.